the things where we had seen good amount of diversity did not appear, or has vanished. And I know that the road has taken a good chunk of your diversity, so not to blame that, but inside you still had good things. So I'll just rush through what we saw then. Our study was for 6 months, and this was my team that time. That time I was working with WWF, and it basically, I think Professor Patil, it started when we visited over here for a nature trail, and we were fascinated by the boat side small nature trail that we had undertaken with variety of water birds, variety of terrestrial birds, and the mycoflora. There is plants, there are variety of plants, there are insects that come on it and all that. Everything was great, and Professor Patil was one of the participants for our nature trail, and fortunately we got to study subsequently, and then we decided that this study should be spread over a period of time. The period of time couldn't be very long, it had to be short, so we did it for 6 months, and we saw to it that we could at least touch upon 3 seasons. Those touching upon 3 seasons was the closing of monsoon, then the winter, and just the beginning of summer season. So we get a comparison as to how your biodiversity is behaving over here, or how your flora fauna accommodates each other, and how you interact with this scheme of things. So it was very interesting, and we got to see a lot of diversity over there. My team at that time was just all of them doing MSc. So for them it was a very good reason for bunking college and coming and studying in the natural green lung. We called it a green lung still then, yeah. And I would still call it a green lung, because if you see through the Google imagery, you do have sporadic patches which can be still conserved. And so we divided this place into 6, the urban as well as the, how do I point it out, or just point it on one of the sides, it's okay? Okay, so we just divided it into the U ones being the urban ones and the V ones being the vegetated ones. Vegetated ones were given different shades of green depending on what was the diversity of flora and the associated fauna that we got. The same thing even for the urban ones, like the blue one being highly vegetated. The U one still had some greenery, but it was like the Devi temple side. It was being, and it was undergoing a lot of change. There were old trees, something like huge ones where we could not even find the girth of the tree, measure the girth of the tree. I think it's around 240 or something like that, such old trees. So when you think of those old trees, it is just think of the carbon that it is managing to capture, managing to trap. And look at the pollution that is there just beside the campus, and if this is contributing to the good health of the people around, something like if you have got this huge Hiranandani structure and all that things over there, and the pollution that is being let out, and this being a lung which is absorbing everything. These trees were old. There was a tree where I remember where bats used to roost, and you used to not get them around anywhere. This was a old, near the main road over there. It was a beautiful sight. Come in the evening and see that. It was a pleasure. Mammals up on the tree. So, but we missed it. Now that tree is gone, and where do we go for it? Anyway, it's not the tree's laws, it is basically our laws. So this was one of my first places. I think it is near Coimbatore, the stream that was flowing, and here we spotted our first snake over here, keelback snake in the water as it was just trying to cross, and the ferns and all. This was in September end. Such a pleasant sight, and we just, the entire team decided not to do any work that day. For half a day we were just waiting over there, looking at the stream, looking at the birds, looking at the plants, because it was very pleasing, soothing, nothing like it. Every time, even now I have this slide, on most of my presentations, because this is an ideal situation where you have almost everything over there. I cannot pinpoint to you which insect where and all that stuff, but it was such a, all the tensions would just go. It's a soothing thing, your nerves get relaxed. This is what nature provides. How are you going to calculate that in terms of money? Can you pay for that? That half day time that we spent over there was just priceless. No, neither me nor my entire team can calculate that, and we always remember. So every time we meet, we have the discussion about IIT campus. And anyway, I should continue. So our observations, we had something like 271 species of plants, 85 belonging to 85 genera, 129 of the trees, including gymnosperms. All this is given in our report. So it has a good domination of plants. It's a variety of species, and this we have studied in only 6 months' time. We have, I wouldn't say, documented at that time 100% of the biodiversity. Not possible. 100% of the plants, but we managed to do something like 70% because the young team was very enthusiastic. They would go into every nook and corner. What we did was we did quadrat studies. So we had something like around 80 quadrats placed across the campus of different sizes, for plants, for insects, for this reptiles, for mammals, depending on the fauna or the flora, the herb shrub what we want to study. We did that. So all that was done, and in comparison, if you go to see the majority part that we studied was the urban side, and the vegetated side or the forested area, if you go to see, was just 4 hectares of the entire area that we studied, because the others at times was just not penetrable. But I think it would be penetrable now, looking at the Google imagery. There's a lot of sparseness and all that. So what you had was 2 climbers, 1 epiphyte, 2 species of grasses we identified. Okay, grasses, one of my team members, after working over here, did his PhD from BSI on grasses, and then when he studied the grasses and went back to the photographs, you have around 25 to 30 species, he had told me. He has come out with new species of grasses, something like 5 new species to science, though they are not from the IIT campus. Alok Chorge, and he is now working with the Natural History Museum as a scientific documentation officer over there. But he always remembers his first study ground for the grasses, where he could manage to study 2 grasses. And grasses, mind you, are not very easy to identify. Okay, we get our grains, our wheat, rice and all from the grass varieties, but your IIT campus is rich. It supported a variety of ant species, it supported a variety of other insects, it supported a variety of birds, because there were these grass varieties, the birds that would feed on that amount. But somehow, I don't know exactly what is the situation, but looking at having an aerial look is not very encouraging. But it is not the end of the road. Definitely, you have a lot of things and you can do that. So there were 100 plants. Yeah, the earlier slide, the main thing was there were 30 plant species that were common almost in all subsectors, and 100 plant species that were restricted to a single sector. So it was like some climber was found in one particular area will not be found. Probably that could be because it is an exotic species. Your campus has a number of exotic species, and we had suggested that don't introduce new exotic species. The reason being, the exotic species have got supports diversity of fauna that is harmful for the native plants. So there is a relation. You are trying to cut down a link. It is not a conscious decision on your part. You liked it, it's good to go green, it is good to plant, but when you are planting, see whether you are planting an exotic or you are planting an invasive. Invasives have a very bad impact on our local climate. They will even not help the surrounding plants in the carbon sequestration potential, otherwise the way it would have otherwise functioned. Yeah. Yeah, the urbanized area had 87 species, comparatively lesser than the vegetated ones, and there were few exotic orchids in the residential species, and probably if you go and check now, I'm sure they would have even migrated into the vegetated areas also. So you need to have a study. So, and the vegetated plant species from just the 4 hectares that we studied was 57 species, and these are some of the dominant plants that we saw. Insects, as I said, 73 species of butterflies. You have a heaven over here. You need not go anywhere across India. You need not, no madam, you will still find butterflies. Yeah. Okay, what you had seen, you may not get. I've got another small presentation where I will show you all how your campus has developed. So it will be a run through basically, but still these are the insects. They dominate the planet Earth, and they are very accommodative. So definitely there are species. You may not have like 73, but at least there will be 50 species of butterflies. Yeah, but they will be there. So let us give them a chance, and let us give ourselves a chance, so that if we still have places wherever you have rubble and all put, if you introduce some native species of plants, they will definitely attract some more butterflies. And Bombay is pretty resilient, and this year we have had good rains. I don't know whether it is for good or bad, but then to some extent it is helping the environment. We have the Thane Creek where there are flamingos. We have got the Sanjay Gandhi National Park where there is a variety of diversity of flora, fauna over there, and they all cohabit here and there. They migrate from one place to the other. Talking about flamingos, we were just having a discussion that the lady over there has not seen flamingos till now. Close to Bombay and not seen. I wouldn't say that you have missed anything in life, so it's okay. Flamingos, basically, it is poor people, it's their plight over there. If you study about the history of Thane Creek, the amount of industries that are there, sorry I'm digressing a bit, but the creek is so highly polluted. So the amount of birds that you are getting over there, are they healthy enough? Is the food good enough over there? That is a big question mark. So when they came, flamingos were never there, say historically over there. Bombay, Thane region got the mud flats only after something like the first Thane bridge came up. There were never mud flats. So about in 1850s, 60s, once the Thane Creek bridge got formed, the siltation started happening. So siltation is a natural process. It happens, but at the same time, even flushing of the water is also a natural process. So the flushing was much better. We had 7 islands, so there was water movement here and there, and it was pretty good. But with the covering of the islands, making it single, with the silt, this bridge formation, with the pillars and all coming, siltation progressed. The rocks, the rocky substrata that was there, that got converted into mud flats. And then gradually it was, if you go to see, it was only since the 2000s that you got flamingos, not before. The earlier record of flamingo was something in 1965 at Mahul, down here, at near HPCL and all that. And then later on, all of a sudden, things happened because Uran was killed, the landscape was killed, I mean to say. I'm sorry, I'm using very harsh words, but for me, that is what I see. Sorry. Yeah. So, because that got destroyed and things came here. Sorry. I should. Yeah. So that was the thing. But now coming to your campus back, talking about the diversity, it is like they accommodate themselves. If they find there's problem somewhere, they would move to some greener pastures. It's not greener pasture, it is trying to survive. A mechanism, to help yourself live, survive and all that. So this is what happens. So if this was your biodiversity, and if you're sure that it has gone down, and you're feeling bad about it, don't feel bad. Take this as an encouragement. Take it like, we can improve. It's never the end of the road, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So, look at the light beyond over there, and you can see that, what is there behind. Take this, move it take it in a positive direction, and you will succeed in getting a lot of fauna. So, most of the common butterflies that we saw were common wanderer, cyke, grass yellow, sporadically sighted. We were happy to see blue mormon. But now if you go to see around Bombay, wherever lime trees are there, you will get to see blue mormon very this commonly. Right? It's not a very rare sighting. But here when we saw once, we saw it again at that Sonari Bagh, that this area, the boathouse side. And we were very excited. Then we saw different associations. We always felt that the ants and aphids would be associated. But here we saw that even one butterfly would be associated. The plum judy would be associated with the ants, aphids, and a particular plant. So there was nectar that was provided by the aphids which the ants took, and then there was this aphids, again the sugary solution that would be given. There was this plum judy which would come and take some of the nectar. So it was very interesting. So this was like a very good laboratory for us to study a lot of things. These are some of the observations. So things are there. Yeah. Then insects. We could not do a lot of things at night because you do have leopard problem. So we were told that beyond 6:30 don't be in the vegetated area. So we have to respect that. So we tried our best to sight the moths during the daytime. So we got a good number of day flying moths. That was what was possible. But at times we still broke a couple of rule or two, and instead of 6:30 we stayed back till 7 and recorded a few reptiles. I can tell you this now, but then we saw to it that we were all in a group, not individually, and we did not create a ruckus around over there. We never created a ruckus, so when you're studying nature you cannot do that. So these are some of the common moths that we saw, and the maximum fauna was that of the beetles, the Coleoptera, the Diptera, the Hemiptera, the sting bugs, and they all have a role in the ecosystem. What we saw was there was avoidance as well as association that was there between the insects. And the other thing was they would even control the weeds. There were some insects which would just defoliate the weed plants in no time, and that gave chance to the native plants, native grasses, native small species to regrow. And these were the natural controllers, natural police controlling your campus. And people feel when we go out in the wild we should see either the tiger. If you go to a sanctuary and you see no tiger, you have not seen anything. Even if you have seen then if you have seen something like a sambar or deer or a spotted deer, a nilgai, no, they are not animals. We did not come to see them. We had come to see the tiger. So we go on a chase, tiger chase. That poor person is troubled like anything. You don't see what are the different other fauna that is there. The lesser fauna are equally important. You eliminate these lesser fauna, they reduce your ecosystem services also. This is all interrelated. Like if you don't see an earthworm, we say earthworm is a friend of the farmer. But why is it that it is only a friend of the farmer? Even in the forest it plays a very major role. There is litter that is fallen, the recycling of that. I'm just taking a generic term like earthworm. But then there are other species also that are there which recycle. They go up to the depths. They help in trapping your carbon. They help in recycling nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus and all, and making it available for a lot of species. But we just neglect that. And some of the times, like I showed you some of the butterflies and these insects, they are very charismatic. You look at it and you fall in love. There are reptiles. We have got many people in Bombay who have got new species for Bombay from the reptiles as well as spiders. As a common man, we would have never got attracted to it. But when those photographs are shown, it's there. But I wouldn't blame the common man, because we have made our tourism just like a horse with a saddle. We just focus. You have to focus. So if you're looking at the tiger, you don't look at anything else. You don't even look at the elephant if he's standing beside you and trying to look at the tiger. So don't do that. We saw a lot of ants in your campus and a very healthy, showing see, the ants were separate in the urban area and separate in the vegetated area. They would clearly indicate where there is high urbanization, high pollution. These species were there only in the urban area. They would never be found in your vegetated area. The vegetated area would have ant species that would be very comfortable, social with each other. That would yeah, the variety of others sporadically sighted. If you can see, they are really beautiful. One of the most beautiful things is a tortoise beetle. A small, shining, beautiful insect. You would still have it in your campus, just opposite the road. As we turn around, that side there is still some forested patch. This is rich over there. That was rich over there. So I still presume it would be good enough because the plants over there were good. Yeah. tall trees, the jewel bug. There's also similar looking tiger beetle also, and there was history of the British women taking these bugs and beetles and making brooches and ornamental things. But now that is all gone. People are aware, but then they are there. The longhorn beetle, another a rarity basically, but it was very common in our campus. I'm sorry, I'm also saying it's our campus, like my campus, because I feel a part of this, having been here for 6 months doing these things. Some of the ants, the rabbit-eared fly. If we talk of the rabbit, we know just the rabbit. For some it is meat, and for some it is a pet. But there is also a fly with the rabbit, like here, and this also plays an important role. This can curl leaves, this can affect bag of worms. You all know what is a bag of worms? I don't know whether I have put that picture. The bag of worms is an insect which carries its home along with it, sticking sticks along, and then everywhere it goes, it will go along the leaf and all and settle over there. It always has. It is like a hermit. So that was very common, and you all have something like 7 to 8 species of bag of worm species in your campus. Now, I can tell you now, that time we did not list that. My knowledge was also less, my team was also younger, but with time we have found that there is more. So even when we go back to the photographs, I can tell you that whatever we had portrayed there, you had much more. I can definitely say that at least 2 times of what we had documented can be, because some of the things we have just kept it at the generic level there. And then the spiders. Another person who worked on this team, Aniruddha Damorikar, he has come out with a book on spiders and insects of Kana. He is now placed in WWF in Kana. He got fascinated with the insects and the spiders, and he himself has identified something like 80 species of spiders now. And that time he could manage some 18 spider varieties in your campus, and they are one of the cleaners of the ecosystem. We feel when we look at them, spider is there means it's dirty, clean it up. Get your broom and clean it up. But in fact, they are cleaning your house. If you see a lizard in your house, you try and kill it. It will fall in my milk and I will die. Never so. Okay. That is all in our mind, but we shouldn't go to kill such things, because they keep our ecosystem clean. They give you services which you otherwise have to just pay for. Thank you. Yeah. The names of the spiders you can see. The huntsman spider is another one which we found along the pipeline. We were not allowed to go beyond the pipeline for logical reasons that time, so I think it is still like that, or worse. Professor Patil, worse. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so then you can go there. So, these are the specific spiders. Then the Morpus spider in your hostel area. We could not find this spider anywhere else. So it was so specific. We have not been able to understand why we found this over there only. The Morpus spider. Then looking at the centipedes, the smaller organisms, we feel they are not important. As you walk on the road, sometimes during the monsoon you get to see a number of centipedes. They are there for a purpose. They are recycling your filth. It is necessary that they are there in the ecosystem. And the crabs, edible, very tasty, but they are the ones who clean your detritus. They just break up things. Whatever litter falls, they will make it into small pieces. Yeah, they are like continuous working with both their chiles. They will keep on cutting things so that the things get easily recycled by then the fungus that would come and help the entire ecosystem. A variety of lizards. Calotus was one of the common ones, but more common at Sonari Bagh. The rat snake mold, we did not see a lot of snakes around in the campus because our time of study was restricted to the daytime, that we sneaked in till 7:30, but 7 o'clock, sorry, yeah. So, yeah. Okay, and then the birds, 81 species of birds. These are both the wetland birds and the forest birds. Now, as a campus, you are contributing immensely to the Powai Lake. The lake would just get totally filled, silted if your campus did not exist. The thing is, this is like a catchment area for that lake. True, there is Methi River, overflow and all that stuff, but without this thing guarding over there, the Powai Lake wouldn't have existed till now. It would have been much shallower, much constricted, with this invasive species growing rampantly, growing in large numbers. They are still there, cleaned periodically, but this is something like contributes to the water over there, and we somehow, if we manage to concretize this whole thing, this will go off. The wetland will go off, and I cannot talk much about the life of this thing. True, this IIT campus is at the foothills of the Western Ghats, the lower hillocks, and a very important ecosystem. So these are some of the piscivorous fish-eating birds that we saw. Yeah, I will not go into much details. The mixed diet birds. Mixed diet means again they would eat the insects. Sometimes they would even feed on the grains. Sometimes they would even feed on these fishes. Yeah, whatever is there in the water. So it would be a mixed diet. Piscivorous would only eat fishes. They would go hunting for fish and eat them. Insectivorous, specific to insects. You have the drongo. Nowadays drongo is very difficult to sight, and in a place like Bombay you get the drongo. I don't know whether you still get. You may be getting it. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Common, huh?
Very common.
So that's great. Okay, and the hippo also, some of them. Then the grainivorous and the frugivorous, fruit-eating birds. Fruit-eating birds have got immense work. They are responsible for regenerating trees, regenerating your land. So if you have frugivorous birds, and if you have a few fruit trees, be sure that your campus will regenerate on its own. But leave the land like that. Don't exploit it further. Scavenging birds. Crow is our friend. He is the best scavenger that anyone can have. Otherwise our cities would have been full with plastic and all the other litter which we cannot handle. These poor people do handle somehow. They take these things in their system, and now plastics is also entering our system. So it has entered in our system. So there were some research papers which said that they have got plastics as small molecules, and some of the more omnivorous birds. Few mammals that we saw. Your three-striped palm squirrel is very common everywhere. A rodent, but very important in controlling a lot of other things. And we've got a variety of rats also. Yeah, and the mongoose, the small shrews and all that. They are good. It's not that it's all bad, because that is helping your snake population. So the reptile diversity also stays over there. So it is good enough if they are in proper places. I don't say that you should not have a rat kill in your houses. Okay, you keep a rat kill in your house, but don't go and keeping those rat kills everywhere on the road and all that stuff. And definitely cats, dogs, cattle are important, but up to a limit. We have seen cattle go into vegetated area, clear up the vegetation. Clearing up the vegetation, and then it impacts the diversity that I showed you, the diversity of insects, the spiders, the birds associated with it, the reptiles that will be there, the mammals that will be there. So cattle become a menace. We do need cattle for a lot of things, but then this overpopulation of cattle should be restricted the same way as overpopulation of man. So anyway, comparisons, if you go to see the phase wise that we have separated, the second phase we got 271, the first phase we got 246 species. The increase was because after the monsoon season, some of the plants which would try to surface and the greener ones would just wilt out, we could document them. The second phase, butterflies again, if you see total we got 84, and in the first phase we got 56, second phase we got 68. So it is like the wet forms, dry forms vary. So that is how. And then the moths, we could not get many, just 26 types, but I'm sure here it is not much different than Sanjay Gandhi National Park. If you look into Shubha Lakshmi's book, she has come out with the moths of India, and there is a good documentation of the variety of moths found. You will still get around 30% of the moths that are there listed in a book in the campus. It's a very simple study, students are here, you just put a white cloth with a light and dark background around, you will get a variety of moths coming and resting. Only thing, see to it that is not the new moon, full moon day. If it is a new moon day, you will get the attraction of moths. So on a white cloth, light, and then you can take photographs. And Shubhalakshmi has made that book very easy to common man to identify species. And sure, you will increase the number of diversity that is there. Yeah. Spiders again. Oh, 20 types. I said 18 types. Yeah, you've got 20 types of spiders. This is just comparison of the fauna. Here, yeah, reptiles. We got total 9 species of reptiles. Birds, total 89 species. Dominance of water birds and terrestrial birds in the vegetated area compared to the urban area. Mammals, yeah, total 16 species. And this is the recyclers that we got. We could not identify them. That is because we did not have experts then, but even now we have got very few experts, so we can identify them. And these, if you pick up your logs, trees fallen and you have picked up the log, where are these people going to get their food from? There is litter. You try to clear up all the litter, burn it up. You'll get ash already. Some nutrient will go in the ground and some will get washed off. But what about these naturally beautiful species, varieties of, the fungi that you get? You will just lose it, or you will never see, you will never appreciate. I would definitely, caution you that, you don't go and touch it, because some of them would have spores which will be quite detrimental. So, it can either affect your health or you may just fall off, and the hospital, I don't know whether it's there inside the campus. So, it will not be easily accessible if you are touching them, but be careful. And if it is a red fungus, avoid that. Photograph does not affect. Yeah. So then there are variety of pteridophytes, ferns and all that you get in your campus. I don't know what is remaining. Some of the single season flowers and plants that we saw. Then we have, yeah. Do you all still see the Indian pitta?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because many people in Bombay, they say, we have not seen the pitta only. And we should tell them, go in the campus and you will get to see it. It's a nice thing. And now since I work in SACON, that is Salim Ali Center in Coimbatore, it is just outside my window that I get the pitta every day, and it's almost like a resident one. You get the pied-crested cuckoo, which we spotted. That photo is from the campus. Then some of the other species, the disturbances that we saw then. There was the locals from your U2 region, that is people residing in the urban area too, the residential colony, Devi temple side. Some of them were also involved in trapping birds, and they said that they would eat them or something like that, which is not a good thing. So we had spoken, our team had spoken to those people, even discouraging them about that thing. But I don't know whether that still happens. All over India it happens. It is always, not disclosed, but we shouldn't be killing birds just for food and all that stuff, You have to be careful. And then development, I need not talk about this because this has increased anyway. And species, if you go to see, you have got some 5 species that are listed in the Wildlife Protection Act. This was that time. Even now there are some more that would get included from your campus if they are still there. And then CITES species as well as IUCN species. So your campus is rich in threatened status as well as the other ones. And if you go to see all the other variety of fauna that you have, the list is endless. And I was told at V3, that is the hill area, the campus is planning to have solar panels or something like that. So, is that so? Yeah. So, that is a big concern for me. When I heard that, my reason for coming was, I would have not come otherwise, but I was really disheartened. It was heartbreaking when I got to know that, the hill where the leopard comes, where you have got a lot of threatened, endangered species, living there, and some that we have never ever probably documented. They would be there in science, but for this location we have not documented, and you are going to have a solar panel over there. So that is something illogical for IIT to think about, wiping out a hill and developing something like that. Why should it happen? You see, if you clear up that hill, you place those solar panels, what is it that this is going to hold is just concrete. The ground that was there, that is live, support system to the variety of flora and fauna that we saw, where will that go? Now just imagine, the campus is nice, beautiful, and India has, the International Olympic Committee decides to have Olympics in India and decides IIT Bombay has a huge campus and it should be done over here. Would it be a good idea? Yes or no? No. Why is it no? See, you have a huge campus. It is easy for you'll have this track also over here. There's a swimming pool that the facility can be increased. There's a lake over there, so boating activities can happen over there. The competitions can happen. The other thing is some go-karting tracks and all are close by. So everything is close by. Only thing that has to be done is we have to vacate the people from here. Develop a good number of facilities. So it is so economical for the Indian government as well as everything that gets done and the facilities get upgraded. Yeah. So that is development. So if that happens, if we can think that way, that if the Olympics should not be happening over here because that could affect our existence over here. The life forms that I showed you all do not have a voice, and they have been providing ecosystem services, economic benefits, not only to the people living in the campus, but even people outside, even the water body, the fish that is there, the crocodile that is there. So, everything gets impacted. So we have to think as to who we want to relate to, what we want to relate to. If I do not want my house to be invaded just for a flimsy reason, why should their house be invaded? I would suggest that if you want to have the solar panels, have it not on the hill. You have n number of buildings, you have got your terraces. Is anybody using the terrace? Every terrace can have its independent solar panel, and then you can have decentralized power in every building. You want to go green this way. Don't kill green and you talk about green. Please, so that is one thing that I would like to emphasize on. Your hill area is a rich area. Please don't destroy that. Think of it. Take this place as your own home. You have lived over here. The students at least spend something like minimum 3 years, 5 years over here. So for you it is much longer duration than for me, and I have not told my team. So if my team gets to know they are in different places, they will be devastated, because this was their natural learning library, and knowing, because they keep tab on how the things are changing over here. It will be very bad feeling for them, a bad news for them to know that such patch of thing is just going off. So yeah, thank you. So there I end my first presentation, and 1 second, I have got a just running slide, so I will not take much time. I think it's this one. I have already spoken about it, so this is what I saw on the on the net. So I just compiled the photographs, the images. These are just Google imageries from 2000 till now. If you can see the change, we don't need my talk or anybody else coming and talking about this. These imageries talk for themselves. So do we want something that is getting destroyed? We always say we should leave better planet for our children, but we are not having a better planet for ourselves. Why think about the children? Let us have something good for us, ourselves. If we can, have things controlled, conserved, think about the next generation. Next generation will eventually have it. Because what will happen is, if these values are inculcated in us, that they will automatically get inculcated in the younger generation. You don't have to teach them. They would get polluted gradually, like some of our values have got contaminated, polluted and all that stuff. So, but then let us try and improve ourselves so that that something percolates down and that continues for a longer duration. So that is all that I have to say, and please don't trouble your hillside. Thank you. Yeah. Sir, you can please be seated. Yeah. Yes.
So, with development, there comes a lot of animals that are dependent on humans, like stray cattle and all.
Yeah.
How does that affect the environment?
See, stray cattle and dog are basically usually abandoned. People have pets. They take care of them for some time, and after a period of time, we have got this tendency of getting bored. And if there are too many, we cannot take care of them, we leave them. So it so happens that when they are more in number, then they automatically affect our resources, because after all, they are also life. So they need to survive. So what do they feed on? The cattle will naturally go to the greener pastures. If there are dogs and cats, they will try and hunt. They will try and live, or they will scavenge in the this dumps that we throw. So it depends, how we try, because see, the cattle and stray dogs and all that, their population also increases with the availability of food. That is what we all know, that this breeding process in the other forms of life would always depend on the availability of food. If the resource is available, then only they will breed, and then the next generation is formed. But here we don't pay attention to that. Just as humans, even these stray dogs and cattle, their life cycle or this breeding cycle has also gone for a change. The physiology over there is also changing. So we have to take care of ourselves first, then these things also will get done. Yeah. Yes, madam.
I have a couple of questions. So,
Yeah.
is there a possibility of one more such study? Is there anything in the books?
We are willing to do it. Professor Patil. That always happens. That is everywhere. Trust me. Yeah, I know he was very much for. Yeah. We had a very good support. And like you said, such studies, if you have got so much money to kill this thing hill, give it to organizations which will study for you, give you solutions like that. That would be a better thing. So you can have either in your campus or in the society around. We also have this burning issue of RA and all. I will not talk much about that. We have things about Thane Creek, Sanjay Gandhi National Park, your bullet train. So things are there. So these things can be.
If demand it, then it will happen.
Yeah.
If students come together, and I really feel that you all must come together and demand it, then the administration will do it.
Yeah, that is true. You have the power. You should know to use it. Yeah. Continue, please.
That was in the light of all the development which is bound to happen, right? So, is there a way to conserve some of the species? Is there a systematic way that we can engage in that can conserve parts of the diversity?
See, there are programs that are going nationally on conservation breeding and stuff like that. But why should we go, to that last resort that, it should be, some conservation associated breeding should be done. When we can protect something that is there in its natural setup, we have the landscape that is there, which we just need to physically not look at it. Leave it as it is. It will protect, conserve itself. Yeah. So if that can be done, why should we resort to the last, go to the last resort like that way, if it answers your question. Yeah. Yes, madam.
Would having something like a biodiversity register for ourselves help?
It will.
Because it will not only document,
Yeah.
but also see the line changes that are happening.
Definitely.
Also, there are unaddressed problems like debris, like fumigation that kill a lot of insects.
Yeah.
So if we can develop it as part of institute.
That would be great. That is what an initiative that you should be taking. A biodiversity register can be taken up by the students. You you'll have some projects, environment related projects, and if every student takes just about say 1 hectare of land, you will have a good amount of information. The primary register also of the field, and then you can talk to the people who have been around, so they will give you information. So because the biodiversity register this comprises of both the oral history as well as the existing knowledge of whatever is there present, like, so that would be a great thing. And then yeah, I don't think when probably Professor Patil, you have been here for long, na? So were there mosquito problems before when you just joined or something, or some of you, like, it's always been there, it's a part, but then it was not a menace sort of thing? Did you have to fumigate that time?
Yeah, not a fumigation that happens.
But now there was only this particular year, there was only cases of dengue fever. So how do you not maybe?
See, dengue fever is also associated with how you keep your water in the homes and also not the forested area. So definitely you need not go and fumigate the forest for that. Around your house, if you keep your stuff clean, that is all that is needed. Yes, sir. Yeah. So much of, yeah. But yeah, over the years it must have, with the number of buildings that I showed, 19 years itself has been like your new hostel area, there was nothing. It was a good patch, full greenery, and then slowly, gradually since 2009 the buildings have come up. Yeah. Sir, the water quality is a different aspect totally. Water quality over there is also dependent on the forest. The amount of water that is released from the roots would go down over there, and not the other way around. The other way around would be the effluents that are released, and then that would affect over here. So the water quality would be mostly dependent on what you are releasing from here, that is the ground is releasing, and the health of the wetland over there is basically the effluents, the sewage, the human impact, the debris that is being laid around, all that is changing that. Like, and then the plants that are growing, like invasive species will not accumulate as much of nitrogen, and ammonia has a natural aquatic plant would do. And it is known that invasive species trap less amount of carbon compared to the others. And invasive species have come from other places, they invade, they try to destroy the ecosystem. We have got large amount of Eichhornia and the other weeds in the lake. Yeah, so I think there's yeah.
So yeah, just following up on mosquitoes. So are there better solutions to fumigation? There must be things that we can do.
Fumigation, sir, I wouldn't be able to tell you about that now. But then definitely, I would say fumigation in the forested or the vegetated area is not a solution. That is basically, the mosquitoes would be in the water area where you have in the urbanized places. So if you have some vegetation which is allowing mosquito larvae to grow, then in that particular thing, if you leave certain this herbal things, they will not grow like that. But then there are studies. There is one study on mosquito breeding only in Andhra Pradesh. So I can share that information. They have studied in Bombay also, and they have got solutions without fumigation how you can control this thing. But I do not remember that now, so I won't be able to tell you that. Yeah, yeah.
The other thing, one other thing which you also alluded to is invasive species in the lake.
Yeah.
So in the last few years, what I've noticed is that there are people contracted to harvest grass from the edge of the lake.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is they're probably planting grasses there. Because now it seems like it's one species which goes, for 100 yards or more into the lake. So that's, I'm guessing that's a bad thing. So, I guess it's also a matter of awareness, and we should figure out what to do about it. That's just out there. Another thing I wanted to ask was, is it a good idea to have bird houses? Should we put birdhouse?
You have good amount of vegetation areas. Why do you want to have those sparrow boxes or bird boxes? Let them do their exercise themselves. You don't kill their houses, cut their houses. They will be happy building their nest on trees and all that stuff. I am not for the sparrow boxes and all that are put everywhere.
Okay.
Why the sparrows don't come in your houses and all is because of the type of surrounding that we have. We have concretized, paved, everything. There is no grass growing.
Right.
So if the sparrow has to come, it would naturally go and pluck the seeds from the grass that is there, those grains, because they are mostly grainivorous. So if food is available, they will build their nest somewhere close by. Now and then the type of houses that we have changed, but then they still accommodate themselves in small crevices that are there if grass is available. This is in the cities and we have seen this. But if we remove it completely, where will they go? And then even our shops, earlier we used to have these kirana stores which would have grains and all, and you would see sparrows all around there. But now it is like, it is all inside the mall. Poor birds cannot get entry inside, so how will they be in the cities where such architecture is there? So if we have architecture which complements grass, not the exotic species of grass, if there are native species, and our native species are very good, because grasses are important because they also help in percolation of water, groundwater retention and all. Exotic species will grow for a certain amount of time and you have to keep on watering them so that they remain green. That is not the case, and once they die off, you lay a fresh layer of grass, exotic ones. The endemic ones, the natural ones, you need not do all that, and you can still have them in your gardens and all. That would help. Sorry, but this idea of bird boxes is not very interesting to me.
Right. No, so one of the problems we have is that there's the people who are in charge of pruning the trees. They will sometimes take the entire tree or take the half of the tree. So
what I've seen is if there is a gardener and he's an older person from the older generation, he would have very good knowledge of how to retain certain things and they will do it better. But the untrained younger staff, they wouldn't understand certain things, and for them it is like everything vanished is clean. So that should not be the thing. So if a senior person who has a proper understanding, who has seen things around, is kept as a supervisor, he would see to it that things are maintained better. This is not disregarding the younger generation, because we have to respect the experience of the seniors like that. Yeah.
If there is statistical view of it, and it's a one-off, you see something, is that considered as biodiversity?
One-off, we wouldn't call it as biodiversity. It would be a rare sighting sort of thing like that.
When you do so there is some statistics behind it.
Yeah, statistics, we would definitely use different models, ecological models and all that. But then we need replicates also of that, so that would be there. So, yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. The suggestions are there in the book, so yeah. In the report that we have given, it's available online also. So definitely, you can still implement that. Definitely, the list of species are there. Don't go for exotics. Don't go for. We found some Himalayan species also in the campus in the urbanized area. I don't remember the name now, but it was there, and surprisingly, it was still growing in the campus. So that time, but don't bring such species, and it was only one-off. So that I don't know, till it survives, it would survive, but it will not spread out. But you can always go for yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps you could have another one whenever you are around.
Yeah, sure. I'll let you know. Yeah, definitely we will have it. Yeah. Or else I will inform the BNHS or the WWF people, and they could, because since they are local over here, they would, or one of my colleague Gauri, she takes out nature trails. I'll inform her. She could get in touch with Professor Patil. So if you can organize, then I'll inform her. Yeah. She's based in Bombay. Yeah. So then.
It's really already past 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So let's thank Dr. Quadros.
Thank you. I have to leave by 1 o'clock, for sure. No, 1 o'clock is the deadline that I should.
Still ask questions.
Yes, of course, this is
Yeah.
Why did not you use camera traps for management?
Camera traps.
We could have
I know, but then that time we were short of funds. So,
actually, I think whatever I have seen, we may cite steroids and porcupines,
yeah.
maybe Rusty's community also, like, it would have recorded.
Possibility. It's quite a possibility. Yeah, true.
What do you think, sir, about means, is this is it undersampled and need
No, it is not undersampled. We have sampled.
need further study more?
See, no study is complete. But I wouldn't say what we did was undersampled, for sure. Because we have sampled good amount of grids this exhaustively like that. So it is giving a 75% picture for sure.
In case of a temporal sample,
That will have to be done. That way it will have to be done. So because somehow Professor Patil and that times Dean managed, Professor Patil managed to encourage that times Dean. So it was possible. So if all the existing students and all, come together, things may be different.